everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to season 2 of 52 Authors, 52 Weeks with me, your host, Dr. Lisa L. Campbell, the Growth Motivator. And today we are going to start our year off right. Our author, and I have to always show the book, so give me a second. Our book for today, Cosmic Guidance for Mastering Your Life. Now, first of all, let me just tell you this. I was like, cosmic. Let me Google that word to see, let me get my mind right about, what the book was potentially going to be about. And once I started going through the pages, I said, this is perfect for my 2025 journey. Many of you know last September, I fractured my ankle and spent 4 months in the house, 3 of which were in my bedroom. And so here we are, January 2025. I am starting aqua physical therapy in the pool to really focus on getting my strength back. Because listen, at 52, yes, 52, I do not want to walk around with a cane because I have so much that I'm going to be doing in life. And I am going to be using cosmic guidance to master my life, not just for 2025, but beyond. So, welcome to the show, Dr. Eleanor Haspel Portner, PhD, again, author of Cosmic Guidance. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, I have to ask you, what made you write this book? There had to be a why.
It was a lot. The In 1996, I saw the mandala for the Human Design System. Some of your listeners may know the Human Design System. I was asked by the developer of it, the messenger of it, to test it scientifically. And with my background as a social scientist, my PhD out of University of Chicago, and being in private practice for over 50 years, I just turned 80.
Whoa! Listen. I'm loving this 80-year-old look. I need to get there looking like that. My grandfather just turned 104 in December.
Wow. Well, then you're in.
I'm in.
So, in any case, I was given the task by Raul, who brought the Human Design System to the world, to validate it. 45,000 cases later, I knew in the Human Design System what was valid and what is not valid. The Human Design System is an incomplete, disempowering system because it claims that people don't have choice and that the moment of birth defines who they are. In my system, I look at all 4 worlds: mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical, and integrated. And what I did with the Human Design System, because I was given what happens when we dream and we move into a different matrix. So as I was researching and expanding the system to be developmentally accurate, I actually do charts for all 4 worlds over the 6-month developmental sequence in a baby's life. And so what I found statistically is that 99% of the population are actually what we call manifesting generators. So at 3 months of age, a baby is designed to have choice and volition. When a baby is 3 months old, if the baby isn't reaching for a toy or preferring one person over another person, it's time to worry because that baby is not developing right. So given that I use 8 charts and the integrated chart for every person I read. I began writing what I called daily wisdom practices. I would look at the charts for each world, and I'd look at what the day was bringing, and I'd write about it. And I did it so it would be evergreen. And so this book are statements I wrote for every day of the year in all four worlds. And they work. So if you are interested, I would love to read today for your listeners. Or if this is going to be published tomorrow, we could read tomorrow.
Well, since this is going to happen on live on January 4th, let's read January 4th.
Would you like to read it?
You know what? I don't mind if I do. And I will tell you, you almost made me cry. First of all, I'm a crier, but you almost made me cry because when my daughter Jasmine was born, I took her to the doctor and I said, she's not progressing like she should. And the doctor said to me, well, not everyone progresses the same, so don't worry. And here we are 32 years later, and it took my daughter 7 years to walk. She's deaf. And yes, something was wrong. And
I
I'm
got the chills.
and I'm so thankful that I made the decision to not accept his answer as the end. And when you mention University of Chicago, and one of the things I love about this show, I don't meet any of my authors before we record.
Mm,
So there's so many different synergies. My daughter's doctor, Dr. Thomas Blondis, was from the University of Chicago.
mm.
And he's the one that started all of the workup to uncover what she was born with. Whew, okay, I have to get myself together.
Well,
So,
when I was at the University of Chicago, I didn't realize that I was studying the four worlds. I was in a department that was a synthesis, the first integrated social science department in the world. It integrated psychology, biology, sociology, and anthropology. And I studied with some of the greatest psychologists. So for me to have found a discipline, for one thing, I recognized the mandala when I saw it because I've studied all the parts of it, the tree of life, psychology, dreams. I'm a Jungian analyst. So hearing that you instinctively knew that there was more that your daughter needed than what the mental world medical profession was telling you is a testament to your consciousness.
hmm, you never know what's going to happen on 52 authors, 52 weeks. So let me read January
Please.
4th. And for our listening, viewing audience, I want to be very intentional by just restating the four worlds: mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. So I'm going to start with
And then don't forget the integrated.
and the integration. Yes, yes. Keep me honest. Keep me honest, Doc. All right.
Actually, I'm going to be doing a 5-day four world experience starting January 13th through 18th, and it's free for anyone who wants to learn more about the four worlds.
Well, you know what? When this episode airs, I'll make sure to grab the link from you today. And when this episode airs, we'll have that link displayed so that everyone can take a look at it and potentially register, because
Great.
I truly know that this is real. So January 4th, and because I'm reading it for me, 2025, mental. Imagine possibilities and how they can come true. Listen for your inner voice. Spiritual. Listen to what your body tells you about the effect you have on others. And let me correct that because I just went and did a little ad lib. But it's listen to your body, listen to what your body tells you about the effect others have on you. Emotional. Balancing the axis of awareness, and see page 373 for resources, is the key in staying balanced. And then the physical. Do less than you think you can and be certain to take time to rest. So those are the four worlds, and now we're going to get into the integration. Struggling with issues that challenge the very depth of your life purpose have the potential to bring you consciousness and self-awareness in a whole new way. While you know what you believe you know, it is essential to confirm your knowing with factual outcomes over time. Avoid coming to any conclusions about the workings of your inner self. Listen for the voice of inner wisdom and trust the inner teacher who guides you toward domination of the self over the personality. Time is your friend. When I first picked this up, I said, this is for me. This is for you too, listening, viewing audience. You can go to Amazon real quick. I got mine in a
Or
day.
Apple.
Or Apple. Yes, I got mine pretty quickly because, we don't like to wait for anything. But one of the things that I do know is that looking at the four worlds and the integration is powerful because when I read January 1st, and I'm a person who likes to read with intention, who
Mm-hmm.
likes to reflect, I write, I highlight, and I like the date because I can go back and look at what was I feeling at the time. So for me, on Monday coming up next week, I am restarting physical therapy. I should say physical therapy part 2 for an ankle fracture that I had in September of last year. And so I am being very intentional about mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical because I remember the time when I was in a non weight bearing status for 6 weeks and how it made me feel
Mm-hmm.
mentally, spiritually, emotionally, as well as physically. And then once I started to put my foot down on the ground, and I wasn't able to walk like I could walk pre-surgery, pre-fracture. It was eye-opening, but I never lost sight of my mindset. I never lost sight of the spiritual, the emotional while I was going through the physical journey, while I'm going through the physical journey. So I am excited about the notes that I'm going to capture in my book that will be sitting next to my bed so that at the beginning of the day, I can read the four and the integration, the four worlds and the integration. And then at night, I can have my reflections for the day.
And might I suggest, you did mention the resource page,
Yes.
but at the end of the book, there is a resource page with links to my website that has all of the resources, especially the ones on clean language are very important because we tend to think and have been trained to think in the mental world, especially with neuro-linguistic programming, the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic cues. Clean language, which accesses spirit, has no kinesthetic cues, no visual, no auditory. So when you're doing self-reflection, the kinds of questions you want to ask yourself, given this, what do I know now? And when X, is there anything else? Am I going in the right direction? Is this what I want to have happen? I often tell, for many years, I was doing specialty work with couples. And part of what I came to the four worlds through was seeing that as a clinician, skills and communication was world specific. So if I'm talking to spirit, I'm going to use what we call clean language. It doesn't give you any cues about where you should internally be. Am I facing in the right direction? And if you're in a fight, the fastest way to stop the conflict, you say to the other person, what would you like to have happen? Given all this, what would you like to have happen? They stop dead in their tracks. What are they to do? But when you ask yourself those questions that are internally reflective, you're putting yourself in the mindset that is critical for any evolution of your consciousness.
Wow. I often say to my coaching clients that self-awareness is so very important to navigating life. And I tell my youngest daughter all the time that you're single now, and it's so important for you to learn who you are so that when you do join together with someone else, you're not defined by them, but you actually know who you are intimately. And I come across so many people that are 50, 60, 70 years old that still don't know themselves.
Mm-hmm. One of the lessons from the Tree of Life, and my work does synthesize the Tree of Life. So in my four world classes, I've been teaching the paths of intelligence. There are 32 of them in the Tree of Life. And the first path in the Tree of Life, which is actually a model of the process of self-actualization or individuation, the first path, the 32nd path, says spirit, says basically we are an energetic light body living in the physical world. And that physical world is not who we are. We are spiritual beings living in a mental world. And so, in order to be clear, in order to have your life work, you need to use spirit as the core. So, what I've said to all of my clients is in a relationship, the key is to be spiritually aligned. I've seen so many marriages fall apart because, and I just wrote an article for a book on divorce, and my chapter was about my first marriage, which I ended as a single mom with two young kids because we went, after graduate school, we went in separate directions. He went toward the mental world with power and social status, wanting to be on the boards of hospitals and stuff. And I was spiritual. I could not let go of spirit being the core of my values. And I had the courage to say, wait a minute, if we stay together, one of us has to compromise our values. And that's not a relationship.
Wow.
So it took courage. And then I met my second husband in India because Spirit told me to go to India. And I went to an ashram without any interest in the ashram because the voice told me to go. And I met my husband on the day and time my mentor astrologer told me to go. And we've been together since the day we met 46 years ago.
Wow. You are giving us some life lessons. You're 80 years old. You've been married for 46. My grandfather was married for 75 years before my
Wow.
grandmother
I have
passed.
something to aspire to, Lisa.
Yes, yes. And you know what he tells me? Because he has this is may sound a little morbid, but he has her obituaries like everywhere in the house. And he tells me all the time, I still love her. Oh my gosh.
I got the chills again.
Yes, yes. He says, I still love her. But he also always reminds us that I loved her because God loved me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he holds on to.
God.
Hmm.
Yep. When a culture loses connection to God and to spirit, they lose their way.
Mm.
And that's a lesson for each of us. We have to listen for that inner voice. And I do a free webinar every Thursday at noon. And I say to my clients, when you know what you know, and nobody can tell you you don't know, as you said with your daughter, you knew something was wrong. Nobody could tell you it wasn't wrong because you knew it in your gut, in your soul. And you knew that as her mom, you had a responsibility. And that's what drove you. And wasn't she lucky to have a mom who tuned into her soul and not into the exterior that everybody said, pay attention to that?
Whew. We're starting 52 authors, 52 weeks, 2025. Really heavy. But you know, I firmly believe that we are where we're supposed to be because we've lost a lot of connections with a lot of things. And if we don't turn it around, it's going to look scary.
Yep. And that's why I'm doing the work I'm doing.
I'm so proud of you. And
Oh,
I'm proud of you, but I'm inspired because my husband, he is literally like, I got to figure out him, not me. He has to figure out a way to retire. He's like, I am going to retire and I'll be the cameraman and security for all of your events. But I'm like, I'm working until I'm dead. I'm doing what I'm doing until I'm no longer here because I truly believe I am in alignment with my purpose in life. And it
mm-hmm,
took me a long time to get into alignment, but once I got there, I knew that that wasn't the end, that it was just the beginning.
mm-hmm. Because it connected you with your spirit and your mission. And when my husband turned 60, he said to me, we should think about retiring. And I looked at him and I said, I'm never retiring. When you retire, you die. And when you stop dreaming, your life is over. So I said to him, you know, we're going to dream and have goals and work until we die because that's what we love. We love what we do what we love. What else is there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love to hear it because I am on that same exact path. And you know, something that just hit me. about when you have this gift, this spiritual connection, if you don't use it, you can lose it. I think
Yes.
about for 6 weeks, I had to be non-weight bearing and hop on my left ankle. And when I put my foot down, once the doctor said you can put your start to to bear weight on it, I'm thinking at the time, I'm 51. This is gonna be easy. But guess what? It has not been easy, but it's
Mm,
been worth it because it's really allowing me to see what happens if you don't use your gifts.
hmm
Because they atrophy, they get weak. And then you got to take all of this, you lose time trying to rebuild it back up. But for me, it literally has allowed me to tap into myself at a deeper spiritual level. Once the doctor said I could walk, I waited about 4 weeks. I'm still on the cane, but I went into the swimming pool and just started by myself and started walking up and down the swimming pool. I had some religious music on, and the first day my foot got to the water, tears that started coming down my eyes because I knew that this is what I was supposed to be doing, what I was supposed to be experiencing, and I wasn't going to fight it. I was just going to literally go with the wave of time, of life, with the water, because it has me in such a peaceful place that I don't want to be anywhere else.
exactly. I'm a swimmer, and when I get into the pool, I can swim endlessly. And I've realized that when I'm in the water, I'm not picking up anybody else's energy.
Mm.
It's closing it out. Usually I'm psychic. I've been psychic since I was born. I see auras. I know I pick up energy. When I'm in the water, there's no sounds. There's no other people in, whose energy I'm feeling. And we all need that. I've been a transcendental meditator since 1974, every day.
Oh, wow.
So I highly recommend that everybody have a meditation practice. I just found, I don't think I have them in here, but there's um, two speakers made by Now by Zulu, Solu. And they're two speakers that play Tibetan bells for like 3 minutes and put you into a relaxed state. There's so many wearables now and tools for people that anyone listening, explore how you can put yourself into a spiritual meditative place at very least once a day, ideally twice a day, morning and toward evening, not right before you go to bed because it'll keep you up, but late afternoon, ideal. So I encourage all the listeners to find practices that anchor you spiritually because that's where you really live.
I love it. Well, listen, Dr. Eleanor, it has been such an honor to have you as our first guest of season 2. You know, it's so weird. Season 1, my first guest was Dr. Nisa Jenkins. Her book is titled Speak Up, I Can't Hear You, The Voice of a Woman. And so
Mm,
to start 2025 off with cosmic guidance for mastering your life, daily notes, it's definitely aligning. And listening, viewing audience, I cannot wait to hear that you've purchased your book and that you've actually not just purchased it and put it on your table, but that you're actually um, reflecting and writing and growing because you cannot live this life without growth. My grandfather asked one of my aunts recently, "Are you going or will you be left behind?" That was powerful. And
Yes,
listen, granddaddy's 104. So it's not much that he will say that I, won't listen to, because I'm like, if you lived 104 years, you're doing something right.
that's right.
Well, Dr. Eleanor, do you have any final parting words for our listening, viewing audience before we go?
Yes, join me for the 5-day experience, January 13th through 18th. It is self-directed. Everything is recorded. It will take you not more than 15 to 30 minutes a day, and it will change your life. It will put you into your spiritual core and teach you how to align. And also, feel free to join my free webinar on Thursdays. And know that you're here for a mission. And tuning into your spirit is going to align you to that mission. And when you're aligned, everything falls into place. It's called synchronicity. So I appreciate you having me on and the ability to share with everyone what I've learned. And if I can help people change and embrace their spirit, I'm all in.
I love it. And I don't think there's anything else to say.